Hello everybody, it is Tony with Big T Bariatric and I'm here with another reaction video. It is Wednesday, January 25th. I hope you're having a wonderful day right now. It is snowing outside and we're supposed to get like 2 to 4 inches, something like that. But I hope we don't get that much because I hate snow this time of year. Bring on spring, right? If you could do me a huge favor, please hit the subscribe button. It's down there, somewhere over there, or over there, whatever. It's down there, okay. Please hit that button. Please leave a comment, leave a like. I really appreciate it. So today what I want to do is I've been thinking about reacting to Tess Holliday. And I kind of been putting it off, judging by the reaction I got to any video I did with Virgie Tovar. And so I'm wondering if Tess Holliday is going to be a little different because she's not as obnoxious. She's obnoxious, but not as obnoxious. But I'm really introducing myself to some of these characters for the first time as well. Some of you who've been in this community a long time know who they are. You've watched their videos. And I'm really new at this. I don't know who a lot of these people are or what they do or how they became famous or any of that. So as surprising as that is, I thought that I might introduce myself to each of these characters. And if some of these videos don't get as many views as others, that's fine. I'm educating myself on this world and, really trying to reverse any influence that they might have. That's really the goal, part of the goal of this channel anyway. So we're going to look at The Toxic World of Tess Holliday and Fat Activism by Kiana Docherty. I don't know how to say her last name. Somebody pointed it out to me before, but I don't know. So anyways, we're going to get into it. This is a 55-minute video. So if this does well, I will probably do a part 2. I'm not going to do the whole thing because I know with my commentary, it'll be a 3-hour video. So, all right, let's get into it now.
Tess Holliday made waves in 2015 as the first size 22 model to be signed to a major agency.
It's something I wanted to do my whole life,
right.
And everyone always told me I would never be able to do it.
Right.
They laughed at me, they made fun of me,
right.
And I don't know if it was like delusion, but I just was like, I'm gonna try.
Since then, she's been called the world's biggest supermodel, worked with big brands like H&M and Benefit Cosmetics, and named one of the most influential people on the internet by Time magazine.
That's scary if Time magazine picks you up as one of the most influential people on this earth, or on the internet rather, and you are famous because you're a plus-size model and you're over 300 pounds. I think that's sad. I think that's ridiculous that people consider her an influencer, that she can influence others. That's a very scary thing.
And by 2018, she had already landed the now infamous cover of Cosmo UK.
Did you see the cover of Cosmopolitan magazine that was widely criticized because they had a morbidly obese woman on?
Many people say they love the body positive move made by Cosmo UK. Others say Tess Holliday is an unhealthy representation.
You are celebrating morbid obesity.
I am not celebrating
That's what you're
morbid
doing.
obesity. This cover, this is one cover which has a larger lady on the cover in a sea, in a world, in a culture which has venerated, since I can remember, thinness.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like, I don't understand why you have to have super skinny models on covers either. Like, that's dangerous on the other end of the scale. So what Tess Holliday is doing is on the opposite end. Like, why don't we put normal looking people on covers? Like average everyday women. Like, that's beautiful. But people who venerate eating disorders on either side of the spectrum is dangerous. Like, we should not want to be that super skinny model, and we should not want to be super obese like Tess Holliday is. We shouldn't celebrate either one of them.
Being someone like me on the cover of like a glossy magazine shouldn't be top news.
They're hailing her as brave. I mean, what's brave about, eating ice cream?
What's brave about eating ice cream?
She's literally morbidly obese. She's fucking dying. She's addicted to food in a horrible way. And to promote that and pretend that somehow or another this is okay.
Clearly there were some mixed reactions. Some people saw Tess's cover as a special moment for body positivity, while others went as far as to say it was glorifying obesity. The term glorifying obesity is thrown around a lot these days, and not always appropriately.
When 1/3 of Ashley Graham was featured on the cover of Vogue, glorifying obesity. When Nike rolled out a plus-size mannequin so fat people could exercise, glorifying obesity.
Yeah, I don't think it's glorifying obesity if you're creating plus-size clothes, especially exercise clothes that might encourage plus-size women to exercise. Like, that's a good thing. You have a mannequin out there that's showing off what you might look like in some of their clothing. Like, that's a good thing. That's a positive thing. And that other lady, she didn't look obese to me at all. She looked normal. So if in comparison to the rail skinny models, you have a normal person up there and that's glorifying obesity, I don't understand that at all.
When Mattel offered up a curvy Barbie, size 8, US medium, glorifying obesity?
That's the thing I never understood, though, about Barbie is they say that the way that the Barbie was shaped for all those years, that it somehow created a world in which women felt insecure about themselves. I guess the breasts were too big and the waist was too skinny, and that if you blew Barbie up to be normal size, she would be completely out of shape. And it's just a doll. Like, my sister played with Barbies. Like, my niece plays with Barbies. It's a toy. Like, I don't see how people are looking, or even young girls are looking at Barbies and saying, wow, I hope I grow up and have those massive honkers and, that tiny of a waist. It's like, it's a toy. You put clothes on it. You put it in a car and drive it around and pretend it's a real person. It's like, I don't understand how you get from there to massive eating disorder and insecurity and stuff when they grow older.
Every plus-size girl dancing around on TikTok, glorifying obesity. As you can see, there is quite the range here. And there is a distinction between being fat and living your life and pretending that obesity is no big deal. Except that in Tess' case, it kind of actually was glorifying obesity for real this time. At 5'5" and over 300 pounds, Tess Holliday is by far the biggest model to have ever graced the cover of a major magazine.
I've thought about this a lot.
I put something on my Facebook page about, I went and I went to my doctor's office and he compared me to the BMI chart, and I found out that I was actually too short. Because, BMI compares your height to your weight. But being 5'5" and over 300 pounds that's really super unhealthy, and anything that glorifies her or tries to get her out in the spotlight as an influencer is really going to help people see that, wow, I can be 300 pounds too. I could be 400 pounds. I can be as big as I want and be a supermodel. I am the height of beauty at that point. When you're on magazine covers or you're on TV shows or whatever it is that you're doing, like, yeah, you are glorifying that.
And I don't know that it's fair to say that Tess's cover is problematic in of itself. After all, having a particularly admirable or healthy lifestyle hasn't exactly ever been a prerequisite to be a model or celebrity.
That's exactly what I was saying before, that, it's, you glorify both ends of it, and that's a disaster. Like, for girls to grow up and see that you have to be real skinny. I don't understand the Barbie thing, but to see other models having to be rail thin, or the Tess Holliday is really, really big in order to be considered beautiful, I think is dangerous, and it's disgusting, and it's letting girls know that they cannot be normal and be seen as beautiful, which is untrue.
And in many ways, if you think about it, unhealthy lifestyles have been glamorized forever at this point. Now, is that a good thing? No, none of this is good. But I think to be disproportionately offended because an obese woman is on the cover of a magazine is, I think, unfair.
And actually, Tess had already been on the cover of People magazine in 2015, which by readership is 5 times larger than Cosmo UK, without nearly the same level of controversy. The difference in outrage seems to stem from the fact that Cosmo felt the need to devote an entire page to declaring that Tess was strong, fit, and 300 pounds. And most...
How can you be fit and 300 pounds at the same time? I mean, that's the whole thing of you can be healthy at any size. You can be obese and still be healthy. All right, well, I guess it looks like she's in a gym. She's working out. So she doesn't have any health issues right now. She's still fairly young. But are you still fit just because you can go to the gym for a little bit? Like, are you not seeing the major disconnect here?
Most of the discussion revolved around her excellent health and workout regime, as opposed to her fight for body positivity and self-love.
I know we've been putting this off for a little bit, and now it's time to talk.
My goals are just to feel better and be stronger, and also show people that fat girls work out.
Showing people that fat girls work out is a big thing for Tess. She chose a famous personal trainer. They both made announcements about it on their Instagram accounts. They shot multiple videos while they were together, and they even shot that People TV segment in just the few short months that they were working together. Now, Tess has a running sponsorship with Fabletics, and since that time, I haven't seen any videos of her working out. So I guess the photo shoots in athletic clothes are meeting her quota for showing people that fat girls work out, because she has totally stopped with that. All in all, it just...
Maybe that was a paid thing for her, that maybe she was trying to promote some athletic wear or something like that. And so for her, working out those few times, wearing certain clothes was a sponsorship of some type. I'm not sure. But the whole idea that fat girls can work out, like, of course they can work out. I mean, is she trying to change the culture in that way of people thinking that fat girls don't work out? I mean, the fact that you worked out and you were still over 300 pounds and then you stopped working out really is the problem. Like, if you're trying to show that you can be fit, that you can work out, that you can wear athletic clothing and be healthy and all that stuff, like, why not get rid of the weight? Why not actively work on getting rid of your weight? Like, show yourself getting smaller as a result of working out. Then you could positively influence people. But right now you're trying to influence people by saying you can still work out, you can still wear athletic clothes, you can still be a supermodel and still be 300 pounds. Like, the weight's going to kill you, Tess Holliday. Like, you don't realize that. The next time you walk into a gym, you could fall over because your heart explodes because you're pushing all that weight around. Like, I know what it's like to be obese and just walk across the room and how hard my heart is beating because it's pumping extra hard to, allowing you to even do that. So it's not healthy. But if you try to combine what you're doing with a healthy diet and you're losing weight and you're showing other people that you can lose weight, you could still be beautiful and lose weight. You could still work out and be fit and wear nice clothes and stuff like that. Like, that is the positivity that people should be looking for. Not, you could still be obese and work out.
It feels very contrived to me. I feel like it's one thing for Tess Holliday to be on the cover of a magazine for any reason, because she validates plus size women, because she's popular, because you want to be controversial to sell more magazines, whatever. But something completely different when Cosmo takes a stand to validate Tess's delusion that she's healthy to millions of people, and then goes as far as to shove it down our throats with 3 pages about her workout regime, as opposed to making the article literally about anything else.
The problem with this is, Cosmo just put mainstream media's stamp of approval on one of the most heinous lies of health at every size. The preposterous untruth that morbid obesity can be considered healthy.
That's exactly what I just said. That's the lie that she's perpetuating. That you can be healthy, you can be fit, you can be strong, and be obese at the same time. You don't have to worry about what you eat. You can still eat like crap. But as long as you can fit some clothes in and stand up and be a model in a magazine, that it's okay. You're totally fine. What you're putting in your body does not impact you at all.
What about your own health test? Do you ever, because we had a report very recently in this country saying it's a myth that you can be very overweight, obese, and be healthy. So do you worry about your weight? You've got young children. Do you worry about your health?
Look, I would not go through having kids and what it does to your body to not be around for them. You know what I mean? I know that I'm healthy.
Being a healthy, extremely obese person is an oxymoron.
Then lose weight for your kid. Like, be a better example for him or her. I don't know what she had, but be a better example for your kid. Be a better example for the people that you influence. Because it is a myth that you can be healthy at any size. It will catch up to you. Maybe not right now, but it will.
moron, point blank. And it is extremely dangerous to suggest otherwise on talk shows and the front of magazines.
Exactly.
So this was a caption from one of Tess's Instagram posts, which has since been removed but was cataloged on a website. To say and actually believe things like, if you're fat, you're automatically unhealthy, is wildly inaccurate. You can absolutely be overweight and be healthy. I know, because I am not, in fact, over 7 feet tall to balance out my weight. So according to my BMI, I'm obese, which is hilarious to me. Not because I think being unhealthy is funny, but because I'm healthy. Extremely so, in fact. I'm able to keep up with my children perfectly.
Right now you might be able to, but what happens in a few years when your weight bearing down on your knees creates a problem for you that you're not able to? Or you keep gaining weight and you get to 400 pounds or 500 pounds and then you're almost bedridden. Like right now you're fine. Like that's the thing people don't understand about obesity. And I say many times in these videos that you can be 20 years old and be healthy. You can take blood tests that show you're fine. You can, have normal blood pressure. You can walk around and be active. I was always active. I played football despite being big and over 300 pounds and stuff like that. Like you could still be that way. But it's something that impacts you over time. And we're seeing more and more people dying younger, which more fat influencers, I've done 2 videos on it now, and so has Michelle, done several videos on it. People who are dying younger, people who are dying in their upper 20s and lower 30s from obesity. So to come on there and say, oh, it's just untrue that you can't be healthy and, obese is just a total lie. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Tess is saying a lot in that statement. First off, most notable being that she's not obese. You don't really just get to opt out.
I didn't even catch that part, but yeah, that's exactly what she said. I'm not obese. Like, I just happen to be fat, but just because I'm not 7 feet tall to average it out, like, seriously? You're seriously saying that you're not obese because you're not 7 feet tall? Like, your height is something you cannot change. Your weight is something you can change. That's the difference here, Tess.
Out of being obese. Unless, there's an issue with BMI and you're not meant to be in that category, which would not apply to this level of obesity. Or you go and have your fat scanned and you find out that you're actually carrying 200 pounds of muscle. Being able to do essential life tasks, such as watching after your children or stand on your feet all day to do your job, does not prove that you are extremely healthy. Now, there's enough data to suggest that you can indeed be overweight and be healthy. But to be fair, there is also data suggesting that no, people are healthiest within the normal BMI range, and beyond that, you're less healthy. You can make a compelling argument with the data that's out there for either one. But that is not what we're talking about here. There are no doctors that I've seen arguing that you can be this obese and be healthy. This is the equivalent of someone who's like a high-functioning alcoholic or a chain smoker saying that because they don't have any issues right now, because they don't have a disease right now, that they're healthy. Well, no.
Exactly true. Like, you can be a high-functioning alcoholic. That doesn't mean you don't have a problem with alcoholism. Just because you can drink a lot of alcohol right now and your liver samples are fine and you don't have any health issues regarding that, you can still go to work and you can still function. Does not mean you don't have a problem with alcohol, and that doesn't mean 5 to 10 years down the line that your liver isn't going to get shot, because alcohol is a toxin. I don't understand why people drink it. I understand that they enjoy this feeling of getting drunk or whatever, but it's toxic to our body. Our body rejects it. It doesn't like it. It kills our liver. It kills other organs. And yet people just drink it and just continue drinking it and drink more and more of it because I guess it deadens their senses or something. And then before they know it, they're having all kinds of health issues. My aunt died from alcoholism. And so she was actually in the hospital, and they told her if she had any more drink, it would kill her. But she was so addicted to it that she ended up drinking more of it and dying. My dad was an alcoholic. And he was crushed to death at work, but when they did his when they did his toxicity thing with his, what do they call it, an autopsy, there was alcohol in his system, which tells me he was drinking at work, which probably deadened his senses. He didn't realize what he was doing, and he got crushed at work. So I often think that alcoholism killed my dad, too. He was a heavy drinker. He was a heavy drug user, and then he stopped doing drugs, and I guess he turned to alcohol. But, you know, that's just one of those things. It's really sad that people cannot stop drinking, that people cannot stop doing drugs, that people cannot stop eating. Like, it's really, really sad. And there's a mental component to that. And you're trying to tell people that they can be healthy as a heavy drinker or as a heavy smoker or as a heavy eater. And it's just not true.
Oh, you have an addiction. And by Cosmo validating this, by acting like, oh, you know, Tess, she lives a healthy lifestyle, she's just big, it plays into the health at every size narrative that you can be this big and it's not suggestive of you living an unhealthy lifestyle or having a problem with food. You know, you're just born that way, you're just built like that. And unfortunately, Cosmo is not the only one validating Tess's delusions to millions of people. There seems to be this budding corporate trend of discussing health as if it just involves declaring, I am healthy, as opposed to being defined by actively living a healthy lifestyle and not engaging in destructive behavior.
Prior to this cover, Tess was actually featured on the front of Self, an actual health magazine. Or at least it was a health magazine, I don't know.
Tess Holliday's health is none of your business. She's a so-called influencer. She's putting herself out there. She's on magazine covers. You're allowed to care for her health and say, wait, there's something messed up here. This is not healthy. This is not right. We should not be promoting this. We should stop lying to ourselves that you can be this big and be healthy at the same time.
What you would call it today. And Health magazine has featured many fat activists as of late, including Virgie Tovar, which if you've seen my video on her, you'll know her definition of health is a little out there.
Actually, Virgie recently also said, there is no such...
Alright, I just had a phone call, so I don't know where I was at, so I'm continuing right now.
Health is so subjective that it basically doesn't even exist. And the corporate world is so desperate to cash in on people's insecurities that they're willing to put feelings over facts and people's health at risk in order to pander. In my opinion though, one of the most empowering discoveries over the last however many years is just how big of an impact our decisions, our actions can have on our, what's called our health span, which is essentially the amount of years we live in our lives in good health, free from the chronic diseases that come with aging. And
that's the thing too, it's not just our own health span, but how much we can impact those around us. And if you're someone like Tess Holliday, who's a massive influencer, like you're telling millions of other people, I don't know if I'm over exaggerating her reach, but you're telling a lot of other people that they can also be big, and you could also shrink your lifespan by eating crap and being obese and, you know, having a positive attitude about it. So you're not just hurting yourself and shrinking your own life, you're telling everybody else the same exact lie.
Is that not extremely encouraging to the general public? Why would we ever downplay that to any degree at all? This is, as far as I can tell, the definition of glorifying obesity, obscuring the truest reality of the disease of obesity and pretending that it is somehow not a big deal. And although this hypothesis is still unsupported by current research, moments like these are huge for movements like Health at Every Size.
And why many of Tess's obese followers believe that Tess is healthy, and therefore they're healthy too. It's also why people suddenly feel confident saying things like this.
Can this person go back to school, please? Or go do some research and not be a fucking idiot? Fat does not equal unhealthy.
Maybe you need to go back to school, sweetie. Maybe you need to actually look at the research. Maybe you need to open up a book instead of following your feelings and believing whatever it is that you want to believe because it validates your feelings over the actual facts.
Get your info straight before you hop on the internet and be an idiot.
Now, fat might not equal unhealthy, but being very obese certainly does. So before we discuss the science that fat activists use to support their claims, let's talk a little bit about the cold, hard, and unglamorous reality of obesity.
The inconvenient truth in this instance is that at 5'3" and over 300 pounds, Tess Holliday has a BMI of at least 49 and would be considered to have the most extreme form of obesity, Class 3, formerly known as morbidly obese. At this size, Tess is at risk for over 200 different diseases.
Yeah, I talk about that all the time. The list is long of problems. It says right there, gallbladder disease. I had that. I wasn't sure if it was related to my obesity or not, but obviously it was. Diabetes, sleep apnea, cardiovascular disease, coronary artery disease, left ventricle hypertrophy, obesity associated cardiomyopathy. Like, the list is long of things that can happen to you as a result of obesity. And it's hard, cold fact that you cannot dispute.
And much to the chagrin of the politically correct, obesity itself is classified as a disease because it is not only an underpinning of major chronic diseases, but a serious debilitating condition in its own right.
Mm-hmm.
So how is obesity a debilitating condition in its own right? Two of the biggest reasons for this are 1, dangerous visceral fat, and 2, mechanical issues stemming from extra weight.
I know when you look at somebody who's big and you see the fat hanging off of them, that's not where the fat's stored first. It's stored on the inside, around the liver, around other organs, around the heart. That's where the fat stores first. And when it runs out of room inside the body cavity, it starts putting it outside. And so as you keep growing and growing and growing, like, it's just hanging off of you because there's no more room left on the inside of your body cavity. That's dangerous. That's really, really dangerous.
Also, you guys totally lucked out because I was planning on showing you these like really, really gross anatomy videos of visceral fat, but I found out it's against the community guidelines. So if you want to see them, you can look them up. They're on YouTube. They're super gross though, so be warned.
Visceral fat is commonly referred to as belly fat, but specifically refers to the fat wrapped around your internal organs.
Yeah, look at that. It's wrapped around your internal organs. It's all in your intestines. It's all around your organs. It's just disgusting. If you look off to the far, far side, like, that's what your belly fat looks like. But it's all inside you first before it starts forming on the outside.
We all have and need visceral fat, but too much visceral fat leaks excess hormones and inflammatory molecules into your bloodstream, putting your body into a chronic inflammatory state, which results in DNA damage and majorly ups your risk for a ton of different diseases and cancers. Mechanical issues. The most obvious and observable reason that obesity is horrendous for your body is simple. All that extra body weight is heavy. Our bodies were not designed to carry an excess 100, 200, 300 pounds. And lugging this weight around has serious and unavoidable consequences. Extra weight wears down the cartilage in the knees and joints prematurely. The damage increases exponentially as weight is gained because your joints not only have to deal with the extra pressure, but the increase of force during movement. According to Harvard Medical School, when you walk across level ground, the force on your knees is the equivalent of 1.5 times your body weight. That means Tess, at 300 plus pounds, is putting 450 pounds of pressure on her knees with each step.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you guys when I was at my heaviest. Like, my good knee just started going out. I did nothing to it. It just woke up one day and it was hurting, and it did not stop hurting for months until I lost the weight. And so now that I'm losing the weight, there are other biomechanical issues that are happening, but I'm okay with those, and I'm working those out. But yeah, I wasn't okay with my body hurting because I was so big that it was causing all kinds of pressure on my knees. Like, that's when you know it's time. Like, you're going to be bedridden if you don't get this figured out right away.
While someone at 150 pounds is only putting about 225 pounds of pressure per step. This is why it's very dangerous for very obese people to exercise.
At some point in time, if she keeps up this type of training, Tess Holliday will most likely suffer an injury to her ankle, her lower back, or her knees.
That's why you can't say that you can be obese and fit at the same time. Yeah, you might have a few opportunities to go to the gym and work out, but if you do it for a prolonged amount of time, that is wear and tear on your body. That's tearing up your knees and your back. And, that's just, again, it's something that happens over time. You begin the wear and tear process. And so just walking around can do it. Going up a flight of stairs can do it. And yeah, you're going to end up injuring yourself. So no, you cannot be fit and obese at the same time. You can be younger and still have flexible movement and not have so many issues, but you carry that weight around for a few years, you're increasing your risk of all kinds of injuries and illnesses and everything else. And once you injure yourself as a big person, there's very little that they can actually do for you, which means you're more likely to become bedridden.
As you continue to go up in weight, that pressure just continues to compound. Every minute you spend at that size, you're needlessly harming your body. This alone for me is enough to declare health at every size a myth. I could go on forever about the consequences of obesity.
Yeah, exactly. And I just sort of said it, but if you can injure yourself just because you're bigger and you go for a small walk, like health at every size is a myth. That absolutely proves it. Again, you might be able to go to the gym and be okay, but that doesn't mean the next time you go, you're not going to blow your heart out or you're not going to injure yourself. And so just having that extra weight on you puts you at that higher risk, which by itself means you're not healthy. If you can't exercise and be healthy, then you're not healthy, right?
But there are decades of research and proof to support this already. It is very obvious that your weight may indeed disqualify you from the healthy category. Anyway, now that we've gone over that, let's get back to Tess and how she became the gateway drug to health at every size.
It's a gateway drug. All right, I'm gonna stop it right here. Because almost 18 minutes has run, and so I guess I will see what happens if this gets some good views or not, and I will come back to this section if it does, and I'll put part 2 up tomorrow and we'll go from there. This might be a 3-parter, or if it doesn't get very much traction, then I'll just leave it as it is. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, got something out of it. If you have, just again, leave a comment. If you disagree, leave a comment. I'd love to talk with you about it. I hope you enjoyed it anyways. God bless you. Have a great rest of your day.